Hi there, welcome to our third week of a grid design every week segment. Today I'm going to show you another relatively simple design, and it's called the orange peel. Some people refer to it as a pumpkin seed design. So come on over to the machine and we'll see how it's done. Alright, so right here is a little sample in which you can see what we're doing. Again, orange peel or pumpkin seed design. And it can be done on either a diagonal grid or if you wanted a horizontal vertical grid. But I think it looks prettier on the diagonal, so I went ahead and marked a little sample with the diagonal grid, 1/2 inch grid. So let's get started. I'm going to wear my rubber fingertips today because I really do think I need them for better work. Alright, so just going to use green thread. I hope you can see it okay. I'm going to start in a corner. And for this design, again, we need to remember that soft S shape. That's going to give us a pretty design. So just start somewhere in a corner. We're going to do our little arc and cross that intersection. Get rid of those threads. Alright, so soft S all the way up and down our marked grid line. Remember, you want to aim for the intersections. Alright, I always like to get rid of those pins as soon as they get near me. Alright, so we got to the end of this row. I'm going to go right back down the other side. Alright. So you can see what we have here is a line that looks like that. And you can see they're not perfect. But like I said, we're not machines. We're not computers. Our work isn't going to be perfect. So we're going to travel up this line. If this was a real quilt, you would be working along a seam line or the outer edge of your quilt. So traveling up to the next line is going to be fine. Alright, so let's do the same thing, a soft S. Now, I'm going to stop here and show you a little trick. I didn't do it on the first line because I didn't want to confuse you. But what we can do now is do a continuous, keep it going instead of just doing one row at a time. We can go to that point, come down here. Okay, we can keep going. See how that's working out and making it continuous? And we can just keep going until we hit a stopping point. So I'm just going to keep going until I can't go any further. And then I'll go back. By that time we'll have almost our whole block done. Something you should remember with these, let me point this out. When you do these arcs, these soft S's, you don't want them too big because then they start overlapping each other at the intersections, but you want them consistent throughout your design. All right, so now we are at a stopping point. I would have to travel somewhere else along the outer edge, so I'm going to go ahead and go back on the other side of those grid lines. Something with grid-based designs you'll notice, it's kind of a fun anticipation. When you get your grid lines done in one direction, you don't really see the design, but as soon as you can start going the other direction, it all starts to come together, and it's fun to see those designs actually show up. This is a design, if you're using a grid stencil in which the intersections are not connected, this one I've used a grid, and so you can see my intersections are drawn together, but if they're not because the stencil you used didn't connect those intersections, you're going to want to go in with your blue pen and connect them, because you have to aim for the intersections to make this design successful. So you want those marked in before you get started quilting your design. And I can see I'm not doing a perfect job, but like I said, I'm not going to agonize over it. I'm just going to try to do the best I can. I will say, if you use colored thread on this, you're pretty brave, because you know, imperfections do show up on these. So using a matching thread if you're doing this design, or something just slightly lighter than your fabric, is going to probably make you happier. It's going to show your mistakes less. And someone commented about my slow sewing speed, and yes, I do sew quite slowly. I'm going to start another line now. I find that sewing more slowly gives me more accuracy, better stitch consistency. So there, I'm at the end of that line. I need to head back down. Hopefully you guys aren't falling asleep while I'm doing this. It is rather hypnotic. You get in your rhythm, and it's fun. Alright, so now I need to travel up to this next line. If I knew how to speed up the the video, I would do it so you didn't have to watch the whole process, but I'm not that sophisticated yet, so you gotta bear with me. Down here. You can see why if you can keep your arcs consistent, you'll get better results. Because I'm telling you, my results don't feel that good to me, but when it's all said and done, the design looks very pretty. We're getting close to the end now. And that, I believe, is it. If you ever don't know if you've completed your whole grid, you'll certainly know by turning it over and looking at the back. So let's look at the back side of this. Oops, I did miss a line. Well, that's a good learning lesson right here. Let's look. You can see I missed this line right here. So I'm going to turn it back over. Oh, and I missed another line. Wow. Well, we won't look at that, but here's what it looks like. If you can see that, I did miss some lines, so if this were a real quilt, I would need to go back in and stitch them. But that's how our orange peel looks, also called the pumpkin seed. All right. Okay, so that completes week 3, our orange peel design. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me next week. We're going to do one that's a little more difficult called the Greek key, and it's going to be fun, but a little bit more difficult. So we're going to kick up the intensity there. So join me next week for week 4 of our grid design every week segment. Thanks. Bye.